Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for new moon in Scorpio. And this new moon in Scorpio is very, very transformative and healing. It will help us purge and detoxify after all these intense eclipses and all other intense aspects that have been going on and that are still going on. But this new moon will give us new beginning. It will give us an opportunity to refresh, to heal, to transform, and to transmute those things that have been really destructive and toxic for our mind, body, and soul. And Scorpio digs deep. It digs deep, and we will be getting to the bottom of something. This new moon is happening on the 1st of November, and it really introduces us into the whole month of November and the ending of this year. And it's pretty big because we also have another like a big crescendo and like a huge completion, because Pluto, the ruler of this new moon, Pluto, the lord of the underworld, is at the last degrees of Capricorn, and it's finally leaving Capricorn after 15 years of being there. And we feel this, we feel the tension, we feel the transformation, we feel that something is definitely changing and ending. And Pluto is finishing its journey. It's about to move into Aquarius on the 19th of November. And we may feel exposed, we may feel vulnerable, and of course uncomfortable material comes up. But we've already dealt with a lot of that. And this could be like a final moment when we are stepping into something completely different, into something that is a different theme. It's a different layout. It's a different scenery. Like everything changes. Like it's a new scene, and it's completely unknown. But we may feel it familiar in some way. So we may be experiencing, familiarity with the unknown, and this Scorpio new moon will give us freedom and courage and strength to feel exposed and vulnerable. And the Scorpio deals with things that we don't want to admit to ourselves, and of course especially to others, but these are also things that we hide from ourselves, and things we keep away from everyone, things we don't want others to know about us, things we are ashamed of, subjects we don't like to talk about, things we do behind the closed doors, our privacy, our intimacy, our secrets, our traumas, our unconscious desires and attachments, humiliation, transformation, osmosis, and everything that brings tension, the unknown, death and rebirth, dying, dealing with loss, dealing with grief. And we may be really experiencing new levels of understanding of all things that Scorpio represents. A new way, we are going to see all those things with new eyes, like different, new perception of death, new perception of relationships, new perception of shared intimacy, of secrets, and of those things that we stuff down, that we suppress, that we repress, that we bury deep down. And we are purging unhealthy emotional patterns during this time, and things become more transparent, and we may see how hard it is to forgive, and how ashamed we are when we need to be forgiven. So we attack in order to defend ourselves, or we may be overly defensive. We still have Mars in Cancer, and Mars is ancient ruler of Scorpio. And we have an opposition between Mars and Pluto, and we will have this opposition for quite some time. But the exact opposition between Mars and Pluto, both rulers of this new moon, is happening on the 3rd of November. But it will be repeated many times in the next 6 months. So we have a very intense period of purging, detoxing, healing, and confronting things that we've been avoiding for a very long time. And things, as I said, may become more transparent, and we may not be able to hide our feelings, to hide our emotions, but we are really getting real about it. And we may see that things that we were maybe ashamed of, when we express these things, when we feel them within ourselves, we may see that there was nothing to be ashamed of at all. But we are ashamed because we are too identified with who we are and with our secrets, our unconscious desires, with our traumas. We are identified with these things very much. And Scorpio gives us an ability to die for who we think we are and to be reborn into something different. It's the process of alchemy. So we are, transforming things. We are transforming fears into strengths. We are transforming lead into gold. And this is, the big alchemical work. And our structures may be falling apart, but this new moon brings new chapters, new stories, new beginnings, renewals and refreshments, new opportunities for doing something that we were afraid of doing. And Scorpio is about shedding of old skin. It's dramatic and intense, and we are definitely shedding our old skin for this new beginning to take place. And this new moon is reminding us that it's not that we are the reflection of the universe, but the universe and everything we see is a reflection of us. And this new moon gives us new insight about those things. And, we are reminded to stop doubting ourselves and our true nature, our intuition. And we are, coming back to nature, which doesn't necessarily mean coming back to physical nature, but, coming back to our true selves, to our natural selves, to our, organic wants and needs, coming back to our own sovereignty, coming back to our own dignity, our real origin, and, being natural instead of being artificial, and expressing instead of pretending and faking it. We may see how hard it is for people to forgive, as I said already. And I've seen it these days, how hard it is to forgive, how easy it is to stay stuck in those lower expressions and lower emotional reactions. It's like they are feeding off of us, but we are also, like we are starving, and it's like it's an addiction, really. So we may be also dealing with some addictions, with our emotional, mental, and physical addictions, and we'll see how hard it is to step away from those identifications, from our traumas, from our suffering, from our need to prove something or to be right, or from our need to show ourselves as good, as perfect, as, good examples. But we really have to face our shadows now, because Scorpio and 8th house deals with shadow work. So our shadows may be exposed now, maybe in our intimate relationships, but we will have new beginning, new opportunity, new feelings. And we will be able to really trust ourselves. And this means to trust our shadow too, because it's not there to torture us or to put obstacles on our path, but to awaken us, to heal us, to help us remove all the layers that don't belong to us anymore, or that are outdated and that are not valid anymore. So the question during this time is, are you intimate with yourself? And how much you're intimate with yourself, that's also, you will know how intimate you can be with others. If you are not intimate with yourself, if you don't know yourself very well, that's how your intimate relationships will also be. And we may feel like we are descending now, and we may have to descend a little bit, to go into our own basement to see what's hidden there, to dig it up and to find some new things there. And the question is also, what is descent for you? Do you have a deep relationship with yourself? This is about personal growth, and we may have to work on grounding ourselves and being gentle with ourselves, being a little bit more focused on simple pleasures of life, because that's the opposite of Scorpio, Taurus, simplicity and groundedness. And this will also be very, very strong around the middle of November, on the 15th of November, when we have full moon in Taurus. And on the same day, we have Saturn stationing direct. And this new moon right now is making harmonious and friendly and supportive trine with Saturn in Pisces. So we have Saturn in Pisces making good aspect with this new moon in Scorpio, and this is very good energy in water signs with water elements, and water, represents emotions, and moon rules Cancer. So we have a lot of water, a lot of emotional healing because it's supportive trine. So we are taking responsibility for ourselves, we are taking care of ourselves, we are focusing on self-development and self-betterment. And of course we've been through a lot of growing pains, but the tension is not over yet. But this new moon gives us that new light, new vision, new inspiration. And it's, as I said, it's an alchemical process, it's an inner work, and we may be asked, are we hiding our light? Because many of us are completely unaware of that. So we have to go deep down into that dark and unknown forest of our inner field and find that hidden light, because we've hidden it from ourselves. So we are searching through the darkness to find that light and to enter our own temple. But, Scorpio also deals with taboo and things we are ashamed of, as I said, things we are uncomfortable with, and, things we don't want to be exposed, versus things that we are proud of, things that we love to talk about, things that bring comfort. So we may feel that push and pull between these two polarities, but we definitely need to explore the underworld, to explore those chambers, and to go through rebirth process. It's new moon, so it again gives that accent on new beginning, new birth. And Scorpio rules rebirth, Pluto also rules rebirth. So we are definitely going through a huge emotional rebirth now, and emotional maturity, because we have this trine with Saturn in Pisces. There's a lot of emotional maturity now, and things we couldn't deal with before, things we couldn't say before, things we couldn't, express before, we will be able to do it now, because we have more inner strength, more inner power. We've been building our inner muscles through a lot of discomfort and tension and drama that we've been through during these eclipses. And this is catalyzing change, and there's a lot of fraction between attraction and repulsion, between push and pull, power struggles, ego struggles. And Scorpio deals with everything that is unconscious, that is below the level of the visible. And it's magnetically deep, it's mesmerizing, it's alluring, it's very attractive. Scorpio, very attractive energy. And, we are going to deal with some kind of death, but it will bring us rebirth. And, we are reminded that we are actually dying every day, and we are being reborn every day, and we are not aware of it at all. You and I and he and she and we all have died thousands of times. And there's a lot of depth in that process that we are now becoming aware of. We are making the unconscious conscious, and Scorpio deals with a lot of manipulation, jealousy, possessiveness, power struggles, betrayal, hurt. And we will have to, bring that material up for resolution. And these eclipses have also helped a lot. And Pluto, because previous eclipse has been making a square with Pluto, which is the ruler of this new moon. So it's all connected, and we are actually able to connect the missing pieces, to find them and to connect the dots. Things are becoming much clearer, but it may become even so clear that we don't want them to be so clear. Things we felt that our intuition is telling us, these things may become very clear now, and we will know, like, it will be the proof that our intuitive insight is real, and we will become very aware of our power, of the power of our intuition, of the power of who we are, of the whole complexity of being a human. And this could be scary because we may not know what to do with this power, but we are given this power that to test us. So we will have some tests now, but these tests will show us that we are much more powerful than we thought we were. And even though it's scary, it will also be very transformative for us, because we will become more responsible for what we feel, what we say, what we do, and what we intend, as I said in previous videos, because this whole energies are very tightly connected. The eclipse in Pisces on the 18th of September, the eclipse in Libra on the 2nd of October, the full moon in Aries on the 17th of October, and this new moon in Scorpio on the 1st of November. It's huge. It's a big journey that relates to things, that are much older than us, that we carry through many different timelines. And, this is the journey to the underworld, but in a new way, in an enlightening way. It's about, searching for that hidden light within us, the light that we hid from ourselves in order to protect ourselves, probably. And there's a lot of, friction between intimacy and conflict. But we are going to be able to deal with these conflicts in a new way, in a way that is very constructive and healing. Sometimes it's better to go into the conflict than to avoid it, because the avoidance of conflicts bring us into situations that we find ourselves stuck in dysfunctional relationships for many years, because we were trying to avoid the conflict, and we are avoiding it, and we create a completely dysfunctional relationship. So we will be dealing with those things, and of course it can be emotionally intense. But this intensity is necessary, because the intensity is what gives us insights. The intensity will bring us healing now. This intensity is very, very, very significant. And things we give our power away are often those things that we suppress or demonize through avoidance and denial. And this new moon will give us an opportunity to really see those things, to see how we externalize our shadow. And of course, whatever we suppress, deny, or avoid creates our shadow. It adds up to it, and it grows bigger and bigger and bigger until it swallows us. So we have to go within and to find that hidden light that will encompass the shadow. So then we will be able to, integrate the shadow and to become one with it, not to struggle, not to fight with it, but, to learn to dance with that shadow. And of course we are now very much more sensitive and aware of the unconscious field, where all of the magnetism and power dynamism takes place. And this is something that is beneath the surface. So we need to dive into the deep sea and make the unconscious conscious. The greatest potentials are always buried in the unconscious, and it's time to get intimate with ourselves. This new moon talks about soul merging, and there's an urge to merge, need for osmosis, need for deep intimacy, need for, just understanding each other on a soul level, but also definitely first understanding ourselves, because this is deep, intimate relationship with ourselves, with our shadow, with our inner underworld. And, this is time when we may be investigating ourselves deeply, because Scorpio and Pluto, they are related very much to investigation, detectives, research, digging deep, finding clues, connecting dots, resolving the mystery. So something mysterious could also be accentuated during this time. Mysterious insights, mysterious knowledge, occult teachings, things that we are not comfortable with. These things will be very, very amplified during this time. And we are definitely researching ourselves, we are investigating ourselves, we are revealing and healing, and we are being our own inner detectives. And this energy also relates to top secrets, to something confidential. So we may see on a collective level, on a global level, something very big happening, because Pluto deals with transpersonal energies, and it's a collective influence, collective impact. So we will feel this in our world. The world as we know it is really changing. It's transforming. Old structures falling apart. There's demolition of an old system, and some top secrets, some confidential things may be revealed now. So these are, revelations of something very powerful secrets also. And that's why it's very important to choose trustworthy people we can trust, because this is all what we see on a global scene is also a reflection of our inner world. So we may be also dealing with our top secrets, with our powerful secrets, but we will have an opportunity to heal through them, to express them, to share them. Mercury is in Scorpio. These are deep stories, profound conversations, deep level of understanding, profound ideas, powerful, transformative news and messages that help us open up our hearts and open up our soul and expose ourselves and be vulnerable and see that this is not the sign of weakness, but actually the sign of strength, the sign of ability to transform and change. Of course, we are going to learn that we are allowed to change. If we stay stuck in one same opinion, in one same belief, in that moment of not being able to forgive or to let go of something, this is what makes us dead. When we are stuck, when we are not moving, the nature and everything around us considers it to be dead. So we have to let those emotions move, let those feelings and tensions move through us, not getting paralyzed, not freezing our emotions, not allowing them to freeze, but to let them move. We have to melt them. And this is emotional meltdown. And this trine with Saturn and the opposition between Mars and Pluto, all of that is really helping us go through many breakthroughs and break free from something that we've been feeling as a burden. Whatever that is, it could be a secret, and then we share it, expose it, and we feel much better and we heal. Or it could be something that we've been silent about. Could be our feelings towards someone, could be our discomfort towards someone. This is an opportunity to really let it out, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. Of course, it's not about just letting it out in any way, but letting it out with yourself, allowing yourself to go through it, allowing yourself to feel it all, and not to point fingers. And it could be a bit intense, because this is Scorpio after all, and Pluto is in the game. It's on the last degree of Capricorn, and it's in opposition with Mars. So Mars is in Cancer in its fall, not really able to express its energy and its willingness, its courage, but being a little bit passive-aggressive, dealing with suppressed rage and suppressed anger. But it's not as intense as it was during the eclipses. It's a bit different tension. It's tension that allows us to heal and forgive, and to accept everything, no matter what. Just accept it. And we may be dealing with our own manipulation. Are we manipulating ourselves emotionally? We may see a lot of revelations about self-manipulations. And projections and the wound of abandonment and betrayal. And we may be able to go through some kind of, feeling of being betrayed, but then through feeling of being betrayed, we go into the healing mode. Sorry. And this healing mode will give us clarity about why we've been feeling betrayed and where that comes from. We may be able to heal some really deep karmic traumas. And these, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, these are intermediary signs, and they are the transitional signs of the transformative process that bring person from individualized consciousness, which develops between Aries and Leo, into the collective consciousness that develops between Sagittarius and Pisces. So we are now into that process, into that big process, and Pluto is about to enter Aquarius. This is the initiation of the age of Aquarius, the initiation of the world as we don't know it. And the final transmutation may be happening now, some kind of big completion of some big process that we've been through. And we may be completely unaware of that process, but we will be feeling it now. And in Scorpio, the personal sense of self dies. This is what is happening. The I, it dies. The previous lunation was Aries full moon, and it was about I am, self-validation, self-approval. And now we have Scorpio, the 8th house from Aries, and it's the dissolution of I. It's, the personal sense of I am dies and totally submerges. It interpenetrates and unifies with the other. And that's where the intimacy comes from in the 8th house in Scorpio. The union of I into we. From personal into transpersonal. And we become the gateway into the collective awareness symbolized by Sagittarius. And these are great lessons of attachment and aversion, the pathology of loss and rejection, the capacity for grief and sorrow, and the principle of sharing. And we are going through a lot of lessons related to these things that I just mentioned. And we are going to see that, there is a big revelation about learning that I learn through my own healing. I grow through my own healing. I transform through my own healing. And this healing right now is giving us a big relief, a relief that can really bring us into a whole new dimension of our own perspective of life. And of course, we may have to face some deep fears, and to face the void, and to deal with our intuitive insights. And this is all showing us and teaching us how to trust our emotional messages. And these emotional messages could be very, very strong. We may be very much surprised by our emotional messages. And this Scorpio part in us is also very private, very mysterious. It wants to disappear. Sometimes it just wants to go into the cave, and this is where we gain deep realizations. And many of us will be experiencing deep realizations, profound realizations through withdrawing, disappearing a little bit, going into the mystery. Let's stay a little bit in mystery. Let's keep some secrets to ourselves too. But of course, let's share. We don't have to say things, we just have to express them more. And we are ready to see something. There is big strength that is given to us now that allows us to look at something deeply, something that we've been afraid of seeing and realizing before. And, we are becoming aware of what we are really feeling. And we will have strength to look at it deeply. This trine with Saturn in Pisces is very supportive. It's very powerful for our emotional regulation, for emotional balance, for emotional harmony, and emotional maturity. Of course, we may have been through a lot of confrontations with our infantile behavior, with our emotional immaturity, and we will see that we had to go through that in order to gain emotional maturity, of course. But we are equipped with everything we need, and something will connect for us. Something will just click, and we will have a deeper trust in our intuition. And this Scorpio new moon really, it sends us a message that says that we can handle it on our own terms, and it's very strengthening. And this Mars opposite Pluto is really intensifying our emotional reactions, and this aspect is forcing things to come to the surface, and it's very purging, and we may be confronted with increased defensiveness, but we have to see it, we have to become more aware of it. And this is something beyond what we've felt before. We may see that we have unlocked new emotional setup. We have unlocked and unblocked a whole new dimension of emotional world and of feelings and of comprehension. And these are powerful changes that we may not fully understand yet, but we are seeing them, we are sensing them, we are feeling them. We are highly intuitive, and it's really time to unlock that intuition, understand the power of intuition, and something is coming through. We are able to have faster and clearer messages, and we'll see that something is definitely coming apart. We may not even see it yet, but we feel that something is just dying and something new is being born. And this is taking us really deep, on a deep journey, and we are asked to trust our power. And this is the beginning of November, this new moon in Scorpio, and this is the period of time when the wheels between the visible and the invisible worlds are very thin, and we are able to quickly and easily pass through dimensions, to move from one dimension to another dimension. So let's all just pay more attention to our dreams too. They are very, very powerful now. And there's also trine with Neptune and Mercury. Mars makes trine with Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces, less degrees of... So this is very, very mystical, mysterious, dreamy, and spiritual energy too. And there's a lot to digest, there's a lot to process, and there's a lot of emotional energy moving. And these wheels that are thin between worlds may be a bit confusing too, but just in the beginning. Soon we will have a lot of clarity, and we are asked to truly be fearless. And worst case scenarios could be a little bit accentuated during this time, not maybe in our personal life, but in the collective. It will be felt, and it's our task to focus on our own healing and purging, because this is what will help for that collective feeling of worst case scenarios to calm down and to be rebalanced. And as I said, deep stories through this Mercury in Scorpio, at last degrees of Scorpio. Mercury is moving in Sagittarius day after this new moon on the 2nd of November. And it's during the time of this new moon, it's still in Scorpio, and really brings some deep and profound news and messages, very deep ones, that have very transformative power for us. And we may feel like we are being pushed through the dark tunnel now, and this is also necessary. and we may be asked to see what dominates our life right now, what really dominates my life right now. And this will be even more intensified and accentuated. These are, core emotional memories. We may be faced with core emotional memories, and things are coming up to the surface, as I said, and it's very attractive energy. And this is something that initiates us into gaining of wisdom of mature soul, of wise elders, of the mentors. And these are mature intimate relationships too, mature way of dealing with shadows, with traumas, with our own insecurities and instabilities. Some big breakthroughs are happening, dots are connecting, patterns are revealed, and we have to really move through things that held us stuck and locked. And these things will be very, very strong now. We have all the tools, all the resources, all the options. We have many choices. There is always a way. This energy is reminding us that there is always a way. There is always somewhere to go. No matter how situation seems that it's unsolvable, there is always a way. And there are new ways of being in our own mastery. But we may feel like we don't know, can we handle this? But of course we can. This energy will show us, as I said, that we are much more powerful than we thought we are. And we are also reminded not to focus too much on what is going on in our physical realm, because if we are too much focused on what is going on in physical realm, we will completely miss the point, and we may miss an opportunity to really merge with ourselves and to do that healing process that we need now. Self-care is important. We are reminded to do less. The change is needed, and the change is very good. And this new moon is also showing us that we may feel a little bit rebellious, which is also good now, because this will help us to step into our own power. And this is a lot about emotional self-care too. We are meant to see what's been hidden, and we may be able to see our toxic attachments, to see our toxic desires, to see our toxic wants and needs, our toxic addictions. And this will really be new beginning for us, new beginning for all of us on a different level. Of course, somebody may be dealing with new beginnings in intimate relationships, or with new beginnings with their traumas, or with their addictions, or with their fears, or with their shames. Everyone will have some different story, or with shared resources, with your partner's money, or with your family's money, or with your inheritances. All the Scorpionic themes, there are many of them, or with death and loss and grief, or with your own power, with your own manipulations, with your own intensity. There are many, many, many different options now, but something is changing, and it's allowing us to deal with what's been hidden and suppressed. And we are getting away from those toxic attachments now. But we should also know that we shouldn't just run away from that, because if we are running away from something, wherever we go, something finds us. We cannot run away from ourselves, from our own patterns, from our own wounds, from our own traumas. We cannot run away from it. We have to, go through the process of integration and healing. And this new moon will also show us the healthy part of us. We will see the toxic part, but when we see the toxic part, this helps us to see our healthy part, the healthy part of who we are. And let's allow this tension to shake us up. This tension is here to show us something, and these energies are very karmic. deeply karmic, very intuitive, very profound, very powerful. But, we may be able to see how we are being self-sabotaging ourselves, but this energy is telling us that we cannot pretend anymore. We cannot pretend anymore. We have to, be completely transparent with ourselves. We may be afraid to say certain things because they may be uncomfortable, but we must share these things first with ourselves. We don't have to, go out and yell to tell our story, but, to tell it within ourselves, to be honest with ourselves. And we may see why are we drawn to particular people. Why exactly this person attracts me? Why exactly that person attracts me? What this tells me about myself? What this tells me about my story, about my traumas, about my fears, about my projections, about my secrets, about my fears? This is very revealing part that we always miss because we externalize everything, but we have to, make a turn around and see, okay, I'm seeing this, so what is this telling me about myself? Why do these patterns keep repeating if they are repeating? And why this pattern isn't repeating anymore? Why am I, why this changed? Why am I now drawn to different kind of people? This will show us the change that happened within ourselves. This is, energy for soul upgrade. We are going through a huge soul upgrade, understanding ourselves on a deeper level and peeling back some layers to really reveal new truth. This is, showing us our path of healing. It will show us our journey. We will be given navigation now. This new moon is really giving us that navigation. And we may be able to notice habits that we formed over the past few years that instill fear. What habits have we been developing in these last couple of years that instill fear and we have to replace them now with new ones that encourage calmness and stability in all the madness that may be happening. And this is really time for diving deep into our souls, into the mystery of the soul, and into discovering something that has been completely hidden from us. And we are revealing those hidden parts of our psyche too. These are psychic energy. We may feel more psychic now. And, we are holding a mirror to our shadow side. And this mirror says, look within. The mirror will say, look within, but we won't hear it. We will feel those words. We will feel them. We don't have to hear them if we feel them. We don't have to, that's why I said we don't have to maybe say things like verbally, but just to be honest, because then that's when the energy will be felt. This is intuitive language. Scorpio talks in intuition. That's the language of Scorpio, intuition, and of water, and of moon, and Pisces too, and Cancer, because Mars is in Cancer. This is very deep. And Scorpio can lead with instinct, and take responsibility. And sometimes the most powerful changes come when we first accept the way things already are. And Scorpio moon can also help to activate our huge inner power and to stand up for what feel right in our hearts in order to embrace the wisdom of the nature, of everything that is natural, of who we are. And there is also a lot of need for control. Of course, Scorpio, Pluto, opposition with Mars, strong need for control, and we may have a need to control others around us. But this is very toxic. Let's just remember, if we feel the need to control others, let's, make a transition and let's try to see what we can control at all. We have to learn to discern between what we can control and what we cannot control. And we can never control somebody else. And we should never try to control anyone else, because this is how we lock and block ourselves. This is how we lose ourselves. This is how we go through very, very hard destructive processes. Whenever we even only intend to control somebody else, we feel it immediately. Life hits us with something. Life sends us something that is very heavy to digest. So let's remember that just we have to really put our conscious effort into trying to let go of the need to control any other person, because we don't own others. We can only own ourselves and take care of ourselves. And of course, be honest with others as long as it doesn't harm anyone. And we may have this issue with control. These are control issues. Someone controlling us maybe, or me or you, we having trouble controlling ourselves too. Or somebody else may feel like we are controlling them, or we may be feeling like someone is trying to control us. This will be normal now, because these feelings are very much intensified now. But we have to see what is this telling us about ourselves. Why do we feel this? And where that comes from, the need for control. And if we are not controlling something about ourselves, we tend to have experience that someone is trying to control us. I will repeat this once again. If we are not in control of ourselves, if we cannot control ourselves, we may have an experience that someone is trying to control us. And this will be a big revelation and insight for many of us. This can bring us a lot of freedom, emotional freedom from those toxic mental and emotional patterns. And we are definitely able to recreate our life now in a way that is more beautiful and more fulfilling. And this is very much shamanic energy too. Dealing with the collective shadow, a lot of hard work is needed. We are asked to be present and aware, to be fearless, to be able to confront these things. But we will definitely have support, as I said, this trine with Saturn and trine between Mars and Neptune and Mercury, very, very healing, deeply healing energy. And we may be more turned inward, more introverted. It's a shamanic time, and it's a soul healing, and it is sharp. So let's also be careful of sharp objects, but let's also be careful not to cut anyone with our words, expressions, reactions, because Mars in opposition with Pluto, things can be sharp and they can cut like a knife. And people who are sensitive could be very reactive during this time, and they are acting from trauma signatures. So we will also have a lot to learn through these responses and reactions. And we are asked, to sit with ourselves in maximum awareness and patience, and to be ready for whatever comes. No matter what comes, face it with bravery and courage. Do not allow any of what you perceive in this illusion to affect your level of consciousness. And we are asked to maintain our wholeness as we reinstall ourselves. And let's not forget that the unconscious part of our psyche remembers everything. It knows everything, and past memories are all in that part, in the unconscious. It's beneath the surface, and things that we don't say out of politeness or out of fear are also there. Everything is there, and we may be faced with those things within ourselves. And we may be faced with our missing needs too. the spotlight may be on our relationships or on intimacy, on exchange, on deep, intimate relationships. And we are asked, is it supportive? Are we empowering one another, or are we destroying one another? And we are dragging some skeletons out of closet now. Deeper parts of ourselves come out of hiding now. And when we suppress these things, we create subpersonalities. When we hide some parts of ourselves, we create our subpersonalities. And let's remember also that discomfort does not equal something bad. And we have to get out of stagnation. This is, invitation for growth, invitation for maturity, invitation for self-mastery, for self-responsibility. And there is pressure to grow, to improve, and to evolve. We may feel this pressure, but it's pushing us through this dark tunnel. And we are asked to make more space for intense emotions, and for new beginnings, and for renewals and rebirths. And it's completely fine to experience all kinds of emotions. It's we shouldn't blame ourselves or feel guilty for feeling anything. This is, as I said before, the problem is when we identify with these things. Let's just allow ourselves to feel all that there is. Let's just feel it all. It will pass. Emotions come and go, thoughts come and go, feelings come and go. What's important is what stays, what is always there, what is essential. Who is the one who is witnessing all of that? Who is the one within ourselves who feels all of that and who witnesses all of that? These things will be very important now. And we are extending our awareness, and we are asked to embrace it all despite discomfort, to purge out all fears, phobias, and insecurities slowly and gently, of course. And we are daring to open new doorways, and it's a big journey of self-discovery. It's an individual discovery. And we may see where we are out of balance now, where we are not acting in the right way, where are we harming and hurting ourselves. We have responsibility individually to come back into balance and harmony. This is our responsibility as human being, taking responsibility for our choices. I take responsibility for doing this or that. I take responsibility for everything that I do, say, choose, decide. This is very powerful. This is very healing. Saturn is about responsibility, and this new moon is making that supportive aspect with Saturn in Pisces. Very healing responsibility. And we are definitely ready for this. And it's very helpful to ask ourselves, whenever we want to choose something or to make a decision, to ask ourselves, do I really need this? And we will definitely be getting answers. And this new moon will also show us that we need one another, definitely. And yet we need a break from one another from time to time. And we have to make balance between these two needs. The need for one another and the need for a break from one another. And this is very, very healing also. And this new moon can bring us new intimate relationships through our past life connections, or renewals of our existing relationships through revealing some things that are related to past life connections. These are, divine reunions, soul contracts, very intimate, soul bonds, soul merging, time to be forming deep new connections, new intimacy, and meeting powerful people, powerful individuals, and people we are hanging around have massive effect on who we are. And this is a very great time to merge with forces that are beyond our control and to absorb ourselves and to let go of ourselves, to let go of our fake identities and of pretending. There's an opportunity to shed a lot of past karma and to really let go of a lot of paranoia, a lot of wounds, a lot of history, and to come into a connection, into osmosis with our shadow, with who we are really, truly, and not with who we pretend to be. And with this, I would end this forecast, and I will see you in 2 weeks when we will have another very powerful lunation, full moon in Taurus, which is in opposition with this one. I love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.